snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles, touchdown.
Here he goes. It's Hester. Inside the 30. Hester's going to take it all the way for a touchdown.
Fields stumbling, trying to cut it back. Justin Fields making magic happen. There goes Fields. Touchdown!
Hurts on first down, fires downfield. It's Deshaun Jackson back in the lineup. This is the last 7 games, and he will take it 81 yards. A somersault into the end zone. His first touchdown of the season.
You're listening to The Pigskin Project, the world's #1 football podcast. Now, with more insights on all things football, here are your hosts, Ben Hansen and Ryan Matthews.
Is it game week? Is it game week? Is it game week? Is it game week? Hold on. Let me get an outside source's perspective. Matt, reporting live. Is it game week?
Is it game week?
Is it game week?
It's game week.
It's game week.
It's game week.
Game week. Let's go. Opening week, baby. And this camera is exposing my tan line from back when we went to training camp, by the way. Can you see this stuff?
Yes.
That's awesome.
I still have my V-neck tan line.
Yes. Yes. We got a lot to talk about, guys.
Yes.
First and foremost, Ben, how are you doing? Matt, hope you're doing well as well. We'll get to you afterwards, of course. But Ben, please.
Yes. Good. School, work. Yes. No,
Yeah.
It's still sick, guys. Not like cold. Obviously, it's not like affecting my voice anymore, as you guys can tell. Got like this weird throat thing going on, so we got a nice cup of tea instead of the classic energy drink with us today. I'm doing well though. Pumped for tomorrow. We already got a whole bunch of parlays. Excited to talk about it with you boys. Matt, how we feeling?
Feeling great. I mean, this is what we wait for. I mean, I love college football more than the ordinary NFL fan, but there's something special about NFL finally kicking off. And who's going to be the world champion? I mean, that's the greatest sport in the world.
Yeah. America's real favorite
how you doing?
pastime, might I say. Good. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know why it's more this year than normal, right? Or maybe it's just because I'm a little biased
because of Caleb Williams.
No. But does it seem like just league-wide there's – I mean, and it's not just with the Bears either, or the NFL rather. It's all of football. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I feel like on social media this year, there's more anticipation this year than ever for football to return. And it's like we were just storylines. Yeah, it looks like everybody was just yearning for it. And now that it's finally back, I mean, literally in less than 24 hours, we will be watching regular season NFL football for the first time in 2024, at least for the 2024 and 2025 season. If this is meaningful football, and I'm so excited.
We were all excited for it. And we're all pumped for it until that awful game comes along our schedule and we all fall asleep. You know, a game something like the Panthers and Saints, something like that, until we start snoozing or something like that. But I just had to take that shot, guys.
Yeah. I gotta say, going into this, I mean, I am nervous, but I want to hit on this a little bit because Ben, you brought it up a little bit in our group chat beforehand, and I know us three, we've been watching it, and Matt and I don't think watch it normally, but Hard Knocks this year, man. Did you guys watch the last episode? Because that gave me chills. I was ready to run through a wall. Let's hit on it a little bit before we dive into everything else. But that exhale, dude. What do we think?
Well,
what do we think about
it fading out of back in Chicago, perfect way. But I'll say this because again, we have a long podcast, so I don't want to harp too much on it. Right. I really felt for Adrian when Poles was crying when he told him that you were cut, and I was just like, it's moments like that, when cut down day comes, and you're like, this is a day where it's the best day for some people, and for others it's the worst day of your life. And like, I feel for him. It could be tough, but Hard Knocks was good this year. Again, I still don't think it compared to the last couple of years, but it got better as the episodes came along. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Matt, what's your take on it?
Yeah, my take is, I have a confession. I didn't watch a single episode after we watched the first one.
No way.
It's something I don't get into. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the outside of football, the reality show of it all. Like, I mean, we got former quarterbacks judging Caleb Williams' body language on the show. So it becomes something that's not about football, and I want it to be about football. And I think that's kind of why I always take a back seat to Hard Knocks.
I get you.
So you liked it when it was Rex Ryan screaming at everyone.
Oh, come on. Give me Rex Ryan all day, every day, and I'll watch Hard Knocks all the time. I will admit, though, I watched it with Ryan the first episode, and it almost got me when they played Caleb Williams coming out to the Chicago Bulls song and just hyping it up. Your starting quarterback. Like, that was pretty cool, but after that, I couldn't find to make time to watch it.
Well,
maybe I could watch it on like 1.5 speed or something tomorrow before the games.
I think, honestly, you couldn't have picked a better time to do it for the Bears, especially with that song to sync up with, because you can definitely, at least for me, but you could tell that the tides are at least changing a little bit into a winning culture. And it seems like the seeds are being planted right now for the team to become competitive. Now, I understand that Hard Knocks is typically set out to make teams look like that, i.e. the Lions from a couple of years ago. But I just want to say, like, so Matt, for since you didn't watch it, the ending scene was just, I mean, bro, I don't know what it did to me, but I'm telling you, like, more than ever, like, so it showed Caleb, right? By the way, I don't know if you saw the edit of him throwing on Twitter at all today, but the Hard Knocks team did a great job editing all of his practice reps all into like the same, like, maybe 10-second clip of him throwing with anticipation and everything to DJ, which like looked phenomenal. But nonetheless, the last scene just showed basically the whole team coming together. They're all having a good time, stuff like that. I mean, you can see the guys smiling and having fun. You're also seeing the vision. But then you saw Caleb, like, put his helmet back on, and he was trying to, like, hear him, It was like, all right. So let's focus out. And then he, like, took a deep breath, and as soon as he exhaled, that was the end. And I was just like, so I just wanted to hit on that a little bit, just because it has concluded. But nonetheless, we are going to go ahead and get started here with our first segment.
Ryan and Ben bring you weekly news.
All right. So, let's go ahead and get over our topics. Now, I only have like 3 headlines. I'm excited to put the first one to rest, but as Ben said, we have a longer episode. This is the first one that I will hit on, and hopefully we don't spend too much time on it because it was frustrating as it is. Ayuk signed a 4-year, $120 million extension with the 49ers. This was, I mean, the fact that it came out that he, like, I don't know, this is the offer that they've had on the table the whole time or something like that, and he just wanted it to be done, and he just did it. That makes me even more frustrated. What's your guys' take on it to put it to rest?
It was just a matter of him trying to see if he could get more money elsewhere at a place he wanted to play. And, like, there were reports that, like, some teams were offering him, like, 32, 33 million. It was all places like the Browns or – yeah, okay. We'll get to that in a second. But it was all places like the Browns or the Steelers or something, places he didn't want to go. He probably came to the realization that the grass isn't always greener on the other side and decided to stay where the money's good and he's getting all the targets he could want.
Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I was just looking at the hope-o-meter. I was texting to the chat just a few hours ago. I'm just surprised that Denver did what they did. I don't know if you guys saw that, but Ayuk to Pittsburgh was a done deal if Denver was willing to trade Cortland Sutton for a third-round pick to the Niners. And that was a part to me that I was like, man, Denver really stopped this whole thing. And Ayuk, I think he wants to win a Super Bowl, and I think he's taken a few $1 million cut, to do that. Because clearly he could have gotten paid probably $35 million with the Patriots, and he said no. So clearly he wants to win a Super Bowl. Clearly he wants to be a vital part of a Super Bowl, and so made the most sense in the world. Because if they weren't going to trade him, now, why not just play out the season anyway under his 1-year tag? Because the draft picks in 2025 are still going to be there in March. That was always my take. So this getting done makes a ton of sense to me.
Well, and I think a big holdup with it all, and I don't know how much Ryan was going to go into this second point here, if he was going to even touch on it. I think a big point of it all, too, was like they had drafted Ricky Pearsall in the first round. They were hoping he was going to step in and become that next dude up. And then he was hurt throughout the entire training camp. They weren't able to get the view on him to see if they felt confident enough to get him. And I think if Ricky Pearsall was healthy and was the player that they would have hoped, the deal probably would have gotten done sooner. Mm-hmm. And then you tack on everything that had happened to him this past weekend. Yeah. Speedy recovery to him and his family, and praise God to him as well. For those who aren't aware, he got shot in the chest.
Yeah, that was actually one of my points as well. I do think that Ricky Pearsall will be okay. I do think that kind of factored in a little bit as well to the 49ers idea of everything. But nonetheless, I'm really excited that this whole thing is done with Ayuk, because it was kind of getting to the point to where it's like, dude, do something and get it over with. Because I think not only did we want a resolution to it, but it was also a part of the dead point in the season or the preseason to where nothing was happening. And I think everybody was just looking for some kind of headline for football as a whole. Our next topic, I guess last topic, because we already hit on the Ricky Pearsall thing. Chiefs wide receiver Hollywood Brown will be out for the Chiefs season opener for the Ravens tomorrow, or against the Ravens tomorrow. I just wanted to add that in just because I know people are looking for fantasy football stuff. And I will say that going forward, we're more than likely have a fantasy segment as we always do. It's just today we have 10 segments to get through, and it's going to be a long episode on its own. So nonetheless, Matt has a little bit of a treat for us today. What? No, go for it.
Real quick. Two smaller things here as well. Not to harp too much on what the Niners have been doing. Trent Williams was sitting out, but they just signed him to a new contract extension. He's going to play. And then the other big thing to watch is whether or not Jamar Chase is going to even play this week. He has been sitting out of practice. He has not been going into practice. He's coming in, but he's not practicing. He's in street clothes. And I don't know how true the reports are, but right now the reports swirling around are he's not going to play in the game, and he doesn't plan on playing in the game unless he gets his contract done before the game. So if you're a Jamar Chase owner, you better be hoping and praying that they can get that deal done here soon. And I think it was something that he wants to make $1 more than what Justin
I heard a penny more. I don't know why, but yeah.
He just wants to be the highest paid guy.
I have a take on this. I think Jamar Chase is going to sign the richest wide receiver contract in NFL history at 7:30 as the Chiefs kick off. Because I don't know if anyone remembers this, but I do. Adam Schefter dropped a bomb last year at this time around the Chiefs game. Joe Burrow signed the richest quarterback contract. I think Chase practiced today. He was out there because it's Wednesday. You gotta if you're gonna play, you got to be in those 3 practices: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And he was out there, so I assume that it has been taken care of, and they are waiting for the perfect time to drop that bomb right as the Chiefs kick the ball off on Thursday.
I also think the Bengals front office are just a bunch of cheapskates, and it's just
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Oh, they absolutely are.
So Matt has a little bit of a treat to us. By the way, Matt, I didn't talk to you about this off air, but I'm hoping that you have something to share on screen. Otherwise, I'll just type everything out. Do you have something like that for us or no? It's okay if
I have my notes, but I have the notes app, but I would like to reveal.
Okay, I got you. That's fine.
Instead of just throwing it all out there. You know what I'm saying?
So what he did, Matt, props to you, man. Honestly, we appreciate you a lot. Because the thing is,
for everything behind the scenes too.
I was at work. Ben, you were probably at work as well, I believe. Either work or school today.
Both.
The thing is, so the thing is we would probably have done this by helping you out at least with it, just by providing all of the results and stuff to you to punch into this predictor. But Matt went the extra mile to go through all of our episodes and see exactly what our picks were for our preseason, schedule predictions, and punch it all into a playoff bracket to where Ben, I would assume, has his own bracket, and then I would have mine, right?
Yep.
So, as a result, probably took hours to do. So I cannot say, how much I appreciate you for doing this, because you really did go above and beyond for us today. And, just can't, we don't expect that at all from you. So I really do appreciate that.
Listen, man, I mean, it was laundry day. I just gotten back. I needed something to keep myself occupied. And so what better than create a playoff bracket for each of you, because each of you have 2 completely different scenarios for the playoffs. So
look at that.
And one thing that I forgot to mention as well during the intro, I guess, to just say to everybody, I am lucky enough to have my 2 best friends in the area to celebrate my birthday a little early, because a week from today I will be turning 22. So it's going to be pretty awesome. But that's what, I know that Matt's going to stay here for a little bit longer as well. But, when he says that he just got back, like, that's part of the reason why he's here as well. So I greatly appreciate you for making the trip, even though it's probably not the entire reason why you're here. And Ben, I know that you're also coming up this weekend. Again, for the billionth time, I appreciate you both for doing that for me. At least let me steal a little bit of time from you guys this weekend, because this is going to be legendary. But Matt, without further ado, please, your segment, playoff brackets. Let's do it.
All right. Should I do Ben or Ryan first? I think
I'll have Ben.
I think I got. Okay, I'll do Ben's.
Oh, I think you should have done Ryan. We can do me though.
All right. I'm gonna go with Ben's. So, I'm gonna start with the AFC's 1 seed, and I already told you both. You both have
should be no shock.
16-1, a staggering, just record. And then it came time to predict this record, and 16-1 was not what the record was. So I kept it. I think you're both bullish on this team. I think you're both bullish on the quarterback, the whole system. It's a Harbaugh. The number 1 team for Ben is the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep.
Then we get into the playoff matchups. The 5 seed, the Cincinnati Bengals at 14-3 against the Miami Dolphins at 11-6. So the Miami Dolphins won the division in the AFC East. Next, we get into the 6 seed. This is a team that Ben, I listened to. He calls this my team. He calls it my Colts. The Colts at 11-6 were the 6th seed in his bracket against none other than the defending champions. Back to back.
Oh.
The 3-seeded Kansas City Chiefs at 13-4. The 7th seed, Aaron Rodgers is back, folks. 11-6 for the Jets. At the 7th seed, they will face the number 2 seeded Houston Texans. What a matchup, Rodgers and Stroud. And then we get to the NFC. The number 1 seed in the NFC comes as no shock to anybody. The San Francisco 49ers at 14-3. They actually had a tied record with the 2 seed. Interested. Number 5, the Detroit Lions at 13-4 are facing the 4-seeded Atlanta Falcons, who win my pitiful division, 10-7, the worst record in the entire postseason. Just unbelievable. The 6-seeded, the Dallas Cowboys, they face a familiar foe, the 3-seeded Philadelphia Eagles at 12-5. And then lastly, the Rams, 10-7. They snuck in against the Packers at 14-3. So that is Ben's playoffs. If you want me to repeat a matchup, go ahead. Let me know.
Well, do you wanna just run 1 through 7 for both divisions?
Yeah. So number 1 seeded Baltimore, number 2 seeded the Houston Texans, number 3 seeded Kansas City Chiefs, 4 seeded Miami Dolphins, 5 seed Cincinnati Bengals, 6 seed Indianapolis Colts, 7 seed New York Jets. That is the AFC. The NFC, San Francisco at 1, Green Bay at 2, Philadelphia at 3, Falcons at 4, Lions at 5, Cowboys at 6, Rams at 7. So that
I like that. I like the way that turns out. That's probably the teams I would have picked.
And just as a little caveat, the Packers beat the Lions late, like middle way of the year. Like you have them split, and they were 1 game off of each other. If the Lions would have won that game, we would have gotten Rams-Lions again in the playoffs. So I thought that was fun. I thought that was something to throw out. But now we get to Ryan's. Ryan's fascinating. I'm just going to speed through the AFC. I'll just speed through it. Number 1 seed, the Baltimore Ravens at 16-1. Outstanding that you both had the same prediction. Number 2 seeded was the Kansas City Chiefs. They face the 7 seed. You're high on this team, Ryan. The Pittsburgh Steelers. I was shocked by it, but then again, Mike Tomlin, all he does is win, right?
I believe it.
Then you get to the 3 seed, the Texans at 13-4. So you both had the Texans winning 13 games and the division, but still couldn't catch Baltimore. The 6-seeded Miami Dolphins, 12-5. So
wow.
Texans, Dolphins. And then the last one, this is an ugly game. The 5-seeded Cleveland Browns travel to the AFC winner, the New York Jets, at 12-5.
Hold on a
What
minute.
a game that
Had
would
the
be.
Jets in the playoffs.
Let me just say this. Before you get to the NFC, okay, I sent a prediction to our group chat beforehand without even looking at my notes to see to predict what my seedings would be in both conferences. And I correctly predicted every AFC team, but just not in the correct seeds. I just want to pat myself on the back because that was crazy.
It's good for the show because now people can go back and see what you said, and it
Clown me
matches
for it.
what you believe. You still believe it to this day, months later.
Yep.
So I think that's pretty cool. Then we get to the NFC.
Oh God!
I think I'm going to do the 1 seed last.
No,
The
the Niners
5
are the
seed.
1 seed for sure.
The 5 seed, the Detroit Lions at 12-5. Pretty
It's gonna be the Packers.
Pretty impressive. Face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 11-6.
Okay.
The 6 seed, the Green Bay Packers at 12-5 face the San Francisco 49ers also at 12-5. So we get
Oh my
Packers,
God.
Niners.
Oh my God. Am I hearing this correctly?
There's 3 teams remaining. The 7 seed. I didn't believe you. I'll be honest. I didn't believe 8 and 9 for this football team. I believe that this team should be in the playoffs, and they will be in the playoffs. The Philadelphia Eagles are the 7 seed in your playoff bracket, so I still put the Eagles in.
Okay.
There's 2 teams left. I think you guys know who the 2 teams are. Either
one of them's the Bears. They have to be.
If the Eagles didn't win the division,
the Cowboys.
The 2 seed in the NFC, the Dallas Cowboys at 12-5. The Bears were the number 1 seed in Ryan's
Best believe it.
prediction.
And you better believe it.
At the lone record in the conference at 13-4. So
bear down, baby.
If you need me to run through again, I can.
For the 19 people listening live right now, there's the little U-Haul have the Bears is in the entire NFC like a crazy person. Just thought I should throw that out there just so we could buy if there was any
put me in an
any
insane
people
asylum.
doubting what ears had just heard. I might have to after this weekend.
Yeah. I'm telling you. Look, I need this week 1 win more than I need air, bro. I'm telling you right now, like the Hard Knocks is fueling everything in my being right now. 13-4, number 1 seed. You best believe it. Bears are taking it. I believe it. I believe it. Here we go. Let's win now. Trading for Micah Parsons at the deadline. I'm just kidding. But anyways. Love it. I love it. Thank you, man.
I thought it was interesting. Both of you have Cowboys-Eagles kind of flip-flopped, but it's still a wild card matchup, and I think that would be must-see.
That's awesome. I really do think that's
would be must-see TV.
I mean, Hollywood Bears. Anyways,
Super Bowl Shuffle?
Yeah,
Anybody?
Super Bowl Shuffle. Yeah. All right. That brings us to our next segment. Our final preseason bold takes. This is the best time of the year to be able to stake your claim and defend it before the season starts so that we can either come back to it and clown you for it and say that you're an idiot, or we can come back and be like, you're a genius, Nostradamus, like you're going to be huge for it. I have 5 takes. I don't know. It's probably in order from how much I believe it to how much I can see it, but I don't know. So, Matt, how many do you have?
I have 2.
2? Okay. I'm going to start us off because I have the most. And the first one, Ben, I'm sorry, buddy, but this, I'm not even trying to make you mad at this point, but I honestly do believe this. So I believe that Jalen Hurts will regress this year without Jason Kelce being under center. Or as the center, I'm sorry. Not under center. That'd be a sight to see.
Okay.
But the reason why, my dad and I were talking about it today, and obviously, this is out there for everybody to see if it's something that you'd like to do your research on. But Jason Kelce used to literally point out the defensive coverages and, shift the protection around and stuff like that. And I fully believe that is the quarterback's responsibility. And now that Hurts, Hurts doesn't have to do that with Kelce there, but obviously that's a tool that you do not have anymore. I believe that he will at least struggle to start off with, but not to mention there are other factors in it as well. He's got a brand new offensive coordinator in Kellen Mond, Kellen Moore, which, I mean, dude, if Kellen Mond was coaching that team, best of luck to you. But no, Kellen Moore, which I do think is going to have to I think Saquon Barkley is going to be in more of a role than what we're expecting. But I do think that Jalen Hurts is going to regress.
I would hope so.
and the primary reason is because of Kelce not being there. But not only that, I mean, guy can't throw over the middle. So, unless he develops that trait, what can we do?
So here's a couple of things. I'm gonna stop you. I'm gonna first hard that it's a quarterback's job to call it the blitzing, like in all of football or most of football. games, it's the center / guards position to like call out whoever the blitzing linebacker is. Like that's it's fairly more common the center's job than it is the quarterback's job. I think number 2 is funny. Listening to a podcast, I actually think Kelsey did I love him to death. Kelsey did a pretty bad job at calling stuff this past year. Like, I think mentally he just wasn't seeing the field as well as he would have. I will say I think there's going to be growing pains with Cam Jurgens. I don't think it's going to make him be like this awful quarterback. That being said, it's hard for me to say he can't throw over the middle. He wasn't ever asked to throw over the middle. It didn't
He's
happen.
He's going to be asked to tell him more.
It's going to be great. I'm excited for it, actually. So it's hard for me to say that like he can't, because he just was never asked to do it in any of the games. And the Saquon point, I hope Saquon's involved in the offense. Like, I hope it's not just like push stuff all the time. As much as like as fun as I think it is to watch the push from like my point of view, it's just wear and tear on like the running or a quarterback that you don't like have to. So to that point, I do hope Saquon is a big part of the offense. I mean, top 5 running back money do be a big part of the offense. But yes, I do think there's going to be some growing pains the first couple games with Jurgens there versus Kelsey.
My next point, Matt, you'll really like this one. The Falcons, in my opinion, will not start off as hot as people think. I feel like this team has been heavily, heavily overrated. I understand that Kirk Cousins is a decent quarterback. I do believe that. However, I do also believe that Kirk Cousins isn't going to – I mean, okay, the receiving core is not something that I would consider a strong suit. I am not a Drake London believer as much as most people are. I feel like that is one of those guys that that people are constantly overrating, saying like this guy's the greatest thing to ever touch turf. Like, listen, like I understand he's a decent wide receiver, but if that's your wide receiver 1, I'm not confident in your offense. You've also got Darnell Mooney, which I'm also very familiar with. As you can see, couldn't care less. I honestly think that that's just Pace doing his job and getting one of his guys from before. But it all just depends, in my opinion, as much as, yes, they paid Kirk X amount of money to be able to handle this team. This team goes as far as Bijan Robinson takes it. He is going to be the primary guy to take this team. I mean, if they're going to the playoffs, then that's one thing. But I mean, your receiving core is made up of Drake London, Darnell Mooney, and Ray McLeod III, which, as a result, leads me to my next point. Kirk Cousins will regress, and Atlanta looks even worse as a franchise when it comes to their front office being incompetent and drafting Michael Penix Jr. We're going to be having a conversation at this point next year whether or not Kirk Cousins should be the starter or if they should give Penix a chance. I do believe that they are complete idiots for not giving Penix more of more repetitions in the preseason. But obviously you have to let this guy develop. I do think it's the right move to let him develop over or under a veteran quarterback. But nonetheless, I do think that, as much as people like to say that Baker Mayfield isn't a good quarterback, but I do think the Buccaneers still have a say in who's winning this division. And it's not as much of a runaway division as people like to say that the Falcons are going to, just go ahead and take it. Now, I will say their defense made significant additions this offseason, and they will make some noise. And I'm not saying they won't win a lot of games. I'm just saying they're going to start off a little slow. Having a good defense doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to win a lot. But I'm just saying there will be some growing pains, like you said about the Eagles. But with this Falcons team, and a lot to sort out early on. And not to mention, but again, new offensive coordinator, lots of new toys to play with. But, perhaps we're in over our heads when it comes to the media and projecting this team to be higher than they are. Matt, I'll let you speak first
about
on
the
this.
Falcons.
Yeah. I was going to say, Mac.
Yeah. I'll say this about the Falcons. Usually, I think the Buccaneers have a say in the division. I don't feel too strongly about the Falcons. The point I did want to make, though, was I was part of the group that was pooping on the whole why are we not playing Penix? But it was actually for a good reason. They wanted to get Taylor Heineke as many snaps as they could so they could get as much film out there so then they could trade him. That's why. That's the reason. It was just so they could sit so Taylor Heineke could get so they could get value for him. So on them originally for that decision, I want to resend that decision that was thinking by the office to sit back. I could trade and get something out of Heineke there. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, I think if that was their approach, that's borderline idiotic, because the most you're going to get out of Taylor Heineke is what we've seen with some players, a 7th round and the player for a 6th round swap. You're not moving up in the draft. This is your guy. This is your top 10 quarterback. You said it. Their GM went out and said it after the first round of the draft. We plan to be too good to be in this position again. That's why we couldn't pass up on this 24-year-old quarterback with knee issues and shoulder issues. So I still don't understand the pick. I don't think I'm ever going to understand the pick until he plays.
No.
It still makes me believe that there's a Kirk underlying issue somewhere, and that Achilles is still, it's, could pop at any time, as any of our Achilles can, but his more prone, I guess. But yeah, I agree with Ryan's point about the Falcons. I think this defense, there's some stars. I think Jesse Bates is a phenomenal safety. I think Justin Simmons still has good football to play. They traded for Matt Judon. I think Matt Judon is a good player. But outside of those 3 players, and A.J. Terrell, they extended A.J. Terrell, I almost forgot to mention. I think their secondary is solid, is fine. But who's going to play the cornerback 2 for them? 5'8" Clark Phillips? Who's going to stop the run for them? The corpse of Grady Jarrett? Who's going to cover in the middle of the field at the linebackers? Caden Ellis, who had his best season with the Saints as a designated pass rusher? I have too much issues with this team. They're trying to coast on being a top 10 offense. I think they can. I do disagree with Ryan a little bit about Drake London. I think Drake London can be unlocked in a way that we've never seen before, because I think going from Desmond Ridder to Kirk Cousins is that big of an upgrade. And what London likes to do is those middle of the field drags or dig routes and get upfield in a hurry with the ball. But overall, I think they're going to try and coast on the offense. And with a guy coming off an Achilles tear at 36 years old, it's risky. Who knows? That division, I'm not even going to try and predict anything of that division, because anyone can win it at any time.
Another team, just going into my next bold take, another team that I think is going to regress and really take a step back in 2024 is the Buffalo Bills. A lot of people are giving this team a lot of hype as well. When they lost, their biggest star, arguably, if not their biggest star, their second biggest star this offseason. I believe that takes a huge hit in losing Stephon Diggs, especially for a guy like Josh Allen, who I will say relies on him a lot. But right now, your wide receiver 1 is Khalil Shakir. And I don't think if that's your guy, I don't think that's your strong suit. Not only that, I'm not going to say or wish any kind of injuries on a team, but you only have 5 wide receivers on your depth chart. Only 5. I don't think that's good standing whatsoever. When I do believe, doesn't Curtis Samuel have an injury history as well? To where he's your wide receiver 3. Mac Hollins, who I also believe has injury history. And then Marquez Valdez-Scantling is your wide receiver 5, which, again, not all that great. Your depth is not great at that position. And the amount of hype that Josh Allen is getting this offseason, especially for fantasy managers too, for him to be quarterback 1 in majority of these big boards, don't see the vision. I don't. Now, I'm not saying Josh Allen isn't good. I'm not saying that he won't be good. I'm hoping that he makes these receivers shine and proves me wrong, but I definitely see him taking a step back as well. This Bills team is not prepared to go ahead and contend this year. I mean, looking at this defense, I'm not really all that impressed by it either. I'm not. The defensive backs, I mean, it's less than impressive to me. Your D line is still a strong suit, so I mean that can definitely alleviate some of the pressure for your defense and coverage. But when your offense can't really make too much noise, there's only so much that James Cook can do in the running game as well. I'm not seeing it. I don't understand why people are hyping up this team so much. However, I will say that despite the fact that they are going to start off ridiculously slow, I expect in the final 6 weeks that Josh Allen will finally find his receiver of the future in Keon Coleman, and that duo, after experiencing the ups and downs of the season, Keon Coleman will explode in the final 6 weeks, and you will see him and Josh Allen as a tandem for years to come. That's my take. Ben, if you're there.
I'm here. I don't know. We might be doing different stuff on social media, but I haven't the bill. At least for what's on my feed, is everyone pretty consensus that this is a pretty down year for the Bills. Again, it's a tooling year for them, and it's a matter of us trying to develop, chemistry with our is not named Gabe Davis or Stephon Diggs. I will say Steph was slowly the last couple games kind of out of that offense anyways. It wasn't as many targets as people like to believe. For not having that guy there, your number one target. But yeah, it's just going to be a retooling year. Lano's hurt now too. It's just going to be probably like a 7-win team this year. I agree with you.
Let me say this just to kind of back up what I'm saying, just so that I'm not making it seem like I'm pulling this out of a hat. This is according to the Bills website, okay? This is an article called What They're Saying. Oh. And so this is basically pulling it from all of the different websites and whatnot. Pro Football Network is saying 11-6 for the Bills team. Again, not seeing it. CBS Sports saying Josh Allen will win the MVP. Let's see. ESPN saying 10 wins for the Bills. Khalil Shakir records at least 1,000 yards. Let's see. USA Today saying 10-7 and they'll go to the wild card. NFL.com, one analyst picks the Bills to win the Super Bowl over the Lions. And then the win total is 9.7 according to the Athletic NFL staff. And then Pro Football Focus again saying if the Bills make the playoffs, Josh Allen wins MVP, which I don't say is a crazy take. Like if Josh Allen can take this team to the playoffs, sure, like cool. But I'm just saying, like 10-7, beating out the Jets just barely by one win, according to Pro Football Focus. Like, let's do better, guys. Come on. There's other teams to talk about now than just the Bills. I'm sorry, but the Bills window is starting to close a little bit, and they gave up by trading away Diggs. Like, that's where I'm at. Matt?
I would hope the team website would hype up their team, by the way. I would like to throw that out there.
I've seen Bears websites say like 6-10, stuff like that. I mean,
I'm just going to say.
Well, I know, but you pulled it from the team website.
I completely zag on this take. I think this team is still going to win the division. I think Josh Allen is still going to be in the MVP race. I think they're still going to be there. I think a Sean McDermott-led defense. I look at that secondary, and I do have my issues. Taylor Rapp, DeMar Hamlin,
starting
just
safety.
Rasul Douglas. Overall, there are things on that defense I don't like, but I think a Sean McDermott-led unit can still get to that average territory, that 16 to 20 range. And if you're 16 to 20 with the second best quarterback on planet Earth, I think you still have a chance to win anything. I mean, listen, their depth chart is not popping off the screen right now. But I think Khalil Shakir is a good player. I think Keon Coleman is a great player. I think Marquez Valdez-Scantling as a limited role, as a limited shot player for a guy who can throw it 70 yards is a good player. It just overall, I'm still high on the Bills because I'm still high on Josh Allen. I know I'm zagging on your take, but I still think this team is going to be good and they're going to be in the dance. And if number 17 is hot at the right time, I think they can absolutely play for a Lombardi Trophy. I'm
just going to go over one last one just because I know we have a lot more to talk about, and we're already at the 45-minute mark. I'm just going to push back on a lot of the things that I've said over the course of the preseason. And I will admit that I might be a little nervous. The Titans will make a push for the division, I believe, this year. I'm expecting Will Levis to kind of take a step up. And this game in week 1, I will go over it in Pigskin Pick'em when we get there. But this game in week 1 is not to be written off. And I believe that Bears Twitter is finally listening as well. That we're starting to recognize that this team's getting a little legit. It's not the same as when the record or the schedule had come out. This Titans team has made improvements on both sides of the ball. And I do believe that they're starting to kind of build something for Will Levis to be able to take that next jump. And I hope that Will Levis can do that. We'll see.
I was just going to say, this is a monster zag. This is a monster zag according to your... Because I put both of your top 10 draft order, and the Tennessee Titans finished with the second worst record for you, Ryan. So this is a massive zag.
Let me back that up. That is the reason why is because we did that division first in the preseason, and they hadn't made all the improvements at that point in time.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I think that they'll make a push for the division and potentially steal away that last playoff spot from Pittsburgh. So, I don't know.
What? Okay, never mind. I was... No, but yeah, you're good. I thought you were saying steal away from within the division. I'm like, what? But you're good. I'm a little tired here, guys.
Okay, so do you guys want to go over your bold takes as well, and then we'll start up.
Yeah. I'll keep it nice and quickly. Keep it nice and short and winded here. We'll do all 3 in one take here. That Broncos offense is just going to look better than what people think. I've kind of been, I don't call it the hype train, but I've kind of been on the train that Bo Nix is just going to look better than what people think. He's going to finish as the second best quarterback this year numerous times. I think deep into the season, we will still have a conversation about maybe the Cardinals being in the playoff conversation. I'm not going to say they're going to make it, but I think we're going to have that conversation prior years by week 6, where there's no way this team is even making the playoffs. And I think come week 15, 16, there's a chance that the Cardinals are making a push here at the end. And then the last one isn't so much of a hot take, but it's Anthony Richardson is going to live up to all the hype that people are giving him. I think Anthony Richardson is, again, just going to blow people away. He's going to be everything that I've hoped for him to be. Within that Shane Steichen offense, he's going to run it like no one's business. He's going to throw it because he has a freaking tank attached to his right arm. He's just going to be great. Those are the 3 ones. Nice and short-winded. What do you guys think?
Absolutely on Anthony Richardson. I think he's worth the pick. I think he's worth the price of admission when you go see him later this month, Ben. I think the Colts are going to be something to watch on offense. I don't know what they're going to be on defense, but on offense, I think Shane Steichen's going to put them in major scheme advantages, and I think they got to steal an Adonai Mitchell with the 52nd pick.
I'll be the guy to say he's not the guy for Andy. They're not done with their quarterback carousel. I'm just gonna say it. I don't believe it. I feel like as a runner, he's elite, but he's not safe, and that's gonna be the death of him. Honestly, not literally, but figuratively. So I mean, honestly, I just and I hope the best for him. I mean, I don't think that this podcast has ever been used to try and put any kind of downfall in any player except for Aaron Rodgers. Screw that guy, and Mike McCarthy. But I will say
Ryan's take, not mine.
But ultimately, I just don't see it with Anthony Richardson. I understand like he's got that ability, yes, but also I do think that we should pump the brakes a little bit on them because he's technically still in his rookie year when it comes to NFL experience. He still has some stuff to iron out, and I mean, I don't know. Did you guys see him in the preseason? Was he all that special? I think he was. So. Anyways, yeah, Matt.
I thought he improved. I thought he improved as a drop back passer, which I think is everyone's issue with him, is overall processing and speed of that processing. I thought he got quicker, got sharper, and if he gets sharper and sharper, sky's the limit for that guy. I truly believe that.
Flacco's going to help him with that too. I mean, Flacco's their backup quarterback there, but like
Flacco's been around.
He's been around. I mean, like that was Flacco's game, is sitting in the pocket, picking a team. Like Flacco, as we all know, was never a running quarterback. And Flacco's definitely much more there for the coaching aspect of it all, I think. He's a great guy to learn from.
I will say his preseason stats it was 10 for 18, 111 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. His longest pass was 21 yards.
Yep,
in the preseason.
He didn't play much. he didn't play much,
but
Caleb Williams went 3 and out on the first 3 drives in the preseason against the second team. Again, we can't take much away from the preseason. Don't want to.
But he didn't throw an interception. Just saying.
But I'm sure that interception was not against the second team. Anyways, Matt, your hot takes.
I only have 2. They're both receiver related. One in Chicago and one in New Orleans. It appeals to this podcast. I think Rome Odunze is going to lead this team in overall fantasy points, because I think he's going to be the touchdown guy, and by the end of the year, talent's going to prevail over the other 2. And I think I said it going into the draft. I think all 3 of those guys are future wide receiver 1s. They are future superstars, and the other 2 are going to be force fed. They are going into complete target vacuum seasons. There's nobody else to throw the ball to. Maybe Trey McBride here and there. What do the Giants have? Devin Singletary? Those guys are fine, but Rome Odunze is going to have to work for it. And I think the talent's going to prevail. He's going to get a lot of touchdowns. And over the course of the year, I think him and Caleb are really going to get that connection going. And he's going to lead the receivers. And next year, everyone's going to catapult him up and be like, oh man, I should have drafted Rome Odunze. I mean, that guy should have just taken the talent. But and then my other one, we're gonna be Homer. Chris Olave, he's gonna have 1,500 yards this year, and to just say how rare that is, there are only 3 players who did that last year: CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and
Cooper Kupp,
Tyreek Hill.
Last year, never mind.
And everyone is wowed by Puka Nacua and how good he was, and he just missed the threshold playing in all 17 games. I think there's just another level that Chris Olave can unlock, and if he can unlock the yak ability, if he can get more of those slants just right out in the open, I've seen it happen. He has the extra gear, and I think he gets to the 1,500-yard mark, and everyone's going, catapult him up. Just catapult him up. Because I also think Rashid Shaheed, he's not a wide receiver too. Your best set, if you're a good offense, Rashid Shaheed is your 3 or 4, and then Cedric Wilson is gonna, he's a big body who's a blocker, and he only caught like 300 yards for Miami last year. So I think they're gonna force the volume to Olave to make that 1,500-yard mark happen. Personally,
that one.
I hope so. That one for you. I hope so.
Yeah. That one scares me.
I feel
that one scares me though, not because of the talent of like Chris. Like I think Chris is awesome. I love Chris Olave.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Derek Carr of it all.
Yeah.
Like that's what concerns me.
Absolutely.
Honestly, I hope by like week 5, Ritter's in there just like sling it down the field. Like that's the hope for me as an outside fan looking in. But the Derek Carr aspect of it all scares me. But I like both of them, and I'm sure Ryan loves the Roma Dunze take.
It's that meme that I hope so. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on here.
Just when you thought it was safe to play the underdog, we put you on Upset Alert.
Awesome. So I'm just going to breeze through mine. Hopefully we can do this as a group. That way, I'm just going to kind of give a tidbit as to all of them. Not really looking for too much of a reaction because I'm sure you guys have your own. Upset alert for me. Teams that are favorited that are in danger of this. Now I'm going to go back again on my Anthony Richardson thing because I do think this Colts team can make some noise. Texans. Yeah, I think that there's a chance that the Colts can upset them week 1. This game, for some reason, is always competitive. That's the main reason why I'm putting it here. Just because, the Colts, look at who their head coach is. I don't think you can count them out just yet. Next up, the Ravens are the underdogs, I believe, against the Chiefs. So, yeah, I marked that wrong. But I think that the Chiefs, they pretty much always start off slow. Remember last year when they lost against the Lions in week 1? Now, I understand the Lions were a good team last year, but so were the Ravens. I would even say that the Ravens are better than the Lions. So, yeah. Next up, the Seahawks are favored against the Broncos, and I think that the Broncos, as Ben said, Broncos offense can make some noise. I am a Bo Nix believer to start the season. We will see how long that lasts. Let's see. And then the Browns are favored at home against the Cowboys. Again, CeeDee Lamb just got paid. So, I think you can't count out the Cowboys now. I don't know why the Cowboys aren't favored in here. I understand the Browns defense is good, but that good? We'll see. And then the 49ers are favored against the Jets on Monday. I do not like Aaron Rodgers, as you guys know, but can't count him out right now. I would imagine he plays the full game. And because of that, this Jets team has continued to improve despite the fact that Aaron hasn't been there for the entirety of last year. So, again, I think this Jets team is going to show their true potential in week 1 against the 49ers, and the 2 Super Bowl teams could lose in week 1. What do you guys think?
You covered 2 of my 3. Ravens and Chiefs, that's a big one. No shock to everyone. Texans and Colts is another big one for me. And then the third one should not come as a surprise to anyone who's listened to the podcast. The third one should not come as a surprise to Ryan. The Titans and Bears. So
I still think we're taking it. Just prefacing this.
We'll get into that one in a little bit. But those are the 3 big ones for me. But yes. Oh, Matt? And Rams Lions. Sorry, that's the other one.
Oh, Rams Lions. Okay. Matt?
My upset alert, I'll use the cop-out answer. Everybody. I don't know anything about anybody. So everyone is 0-0. Everyone, the Texans could have been upset alert last year, and nobody knew.
Yeah.
So all these spreads, I'm looking at them, and it's just, they're so tight spreads. I don't know anything about anybody. All it is optimism out of every camp except one team. And I don't know. I don't know anything.
Do tell us who that one team is.
So I'm putting everyone on upset alert, especially the team in New Orleans. Repping the team. But, yeah, I don't know anything. You could talk me into the Cardinals at plus 240, 6.5 underdogs to Buffalo right now. And I'd be like, yeah, I agree. So,
all right.
I'm going with everybody.
Hey, I love it. Let's go ahead and get started with the most exciting, what everybody's here for.
You think you know football? Well, prove it. This is Pigskin Pick'em.
All right. So starting off with Ravens and Chiefs, I'm just going to go down the order in which I have our names. So I'll start with pretty much every game. Ravens and Chiefs, I have the Ravens. Ben, what do you think?
Ravens.
Matt?
I'll zag and take the back-to-back Super Bowl champions with the best quarterback on the planet. I'll take the Chiefs.
What a wild take.
I'll take it, guys.
What a wild take.
I'll take it.
Packers, Eagles. I have the Eagles winning this one. Ben?
I have the Packers winning this one.
All right.
Ooh, I'm the
Matt?
tie. I think the Eagles. I'm gonna take the Eagles in this one.
I hope so.
I think they're gonna come in and figure it out right away. I think, like Ryan said, they have a designed role for Saquon Barkley, and I think he has a big game.
Panthers at Saints. I'm taking the Saints. Ben?
I'm taking the Saints.
Matt?
I'll take the Saints. I hate it.
No!
I hate it. I hate all of it. But again, the last time we saw Bryce Young throw a football, he was 2-15 and was tiny. Probably still tiny, but maybe he throws
Probably
the football
still
better.
small. Vikings at Giants. I have the Vikings. Ben?
Yeah, I have the Vikings.
Giants are going to be awful. Matt?
I'll take the Falcons. I don't love it. I don't love it at
Vikings
all.
Giants. Vikings Giants.
Vikings Giants.
Yes.
Oh, Giants. I'll take the Giants. I think that is going to make a big play.
Ugh. Okay, cool. Patriots Bengals. I have the Bengals. Ben?
Yeah, the Bengals.
All right. Matt?
I'm going to take the Bengals, but the Patriots to cover the 8.5.
Okay.
The Bengals, sneaky, awful run defense, by the way, guys. Like, they lost DJ Reader, their interior D-tackle, and I don't know how they're going to stop the run if Ramondre Stevenson runs the ball up the middle 15 times. And with Jacoby Brissett, I think they're going to do that.
Yes.
Steelers Falcons. I have the Falcons. Ben?
I have the Falcons.
Yeah.
Matt, you also have the Falcons.
I have the
evidently.
Falcons.
Texans Colts. I have the Texans.
Ah, finally, a different game that we've picked. I have the Colts.
Wow. Matt?
I have the Colts.
Oh!
Wow.
I think it's
All
revenge
right.
for last year.
Cardinals Bills. I'm taking the Cardinals.
Ooh.
I'm
Love
taking the Cardinals as well.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Matt?
I'm gonna take the second best quarterback on the planet, Josh Allen. Buffalo.
Wild take. Wild take.
I know, guys.
Titans Bears. I have the Bears. Yeah, okay. Ben, I don't even...
I have the Titans. For those who are wondering, I sent a graphic to Ryan this morning. In the last 15 years, the first overall pick has never, or like quarterback, the first overall pick quarterback has literally never won their first game in the NFL ever. They're 14-1, so it's 0-14-1. So they've never ever won their first game. Do I hope it happens for Ryan's sake? Of course. I'm not gonna bet against history. Titans.
So before Matt goes, I just want to reply to this comment really quick. Saying to post the StreamYard link so people can talk and make the stream interesting and let people come on. Let me tell you this really quick. This is our show, and we can control who comes on the show. And if you would like to come on the show, you can have, you can definitely, shoot us a DM or something. We could try and work something out. However, being aggressive about it is not going to get your way. So I am not displaying your third comment, and you can have a good night. But, Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, I think callers at this hour would be a little aggressive. So I'm going to take the Bears. I think the Bears are going to win this one. I'm going against history, against the Titans. I think the Bears are going to have a plan, and I like their defense. I think it's going to be a grinded out game, and they're not going to put enough on Caleb's plate that he can't execute.
Also, really, really quickly, thank you for the 24 people who are tuned in and listening. We appreciate you guys spending your night with us.
Yes,
Yin and yang
absolutely.
over here.
Yeah. apparently our stream's not all that
Boring.
entertaining, you know what I mean, to everybody. But to the other people that are, hey, check it out.
Thank you.
The one YouTube viewer left. That's crazy. Anyways, congratulations to that one person that got their 15 seconds of fame. If that's what you want to call it on the Pigskin Project. But anyways, Matt, I appreciate you for siding with me here. That means for me and Matt, the boys parlay is hitting. But for Ben, he's fading us. I'm just letting you know. You can tell who's
He's fading
gonna,
us. He's fading it.
Well, I'm fading it all too. I'm fading my own team as well. I'd like to point that out. I also have the Eagles losing. The only one I actually have winning is the Saints. So
yeah, well, yeah.
Throwing that out there.
All right, Jags and
Might
Dolphins.
have to come on next week if the Saints are the only 1-0 team in this call.
Oh my
If
God.
the Saints are the only 1-0 team, you are more than welcome to come back on.
Yeah. Jags and Dolphins. I have the Dolphins. Not big on the Jags team. Ben?
This game was actually a little bit hard for me to pick. I ended up going the Dolphins, but I could see this being a very close game. Dolphins, but it's going to be a fun game to watch.
Matt?
There's a stat out there. Tua is 32-2 in Miami when it's warm outside. I just made that up. Tua just wins when it's warm. I'm going Dolphins.
Broncos and Seahawks. I'm going Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm going Seahawks.
It's full sweep. I'm going Seahawks too.
Okay.
Love the Seahawks team.
Raiders, Chargers. I did not pick this team. I'll go Raiders. Yeah, I didn't get down this far. Ben.
I'm riding with my boy Jim. Chargers.
Yeah, if there's
Matt?
anyone who's not going to lose their first game back in the NFL, it's Jim Harbaugh. I'm going Chargers.
Yeah.
And if I bet against him, he'll know. He'll know in his gut.
Cowboys, Browns. I'm going Cowboys. Zeke
Browns.
Elliott, anytime touchdown? Just kidding. Ben?
Two
Browns.
Browns. Ben picking the Browns. That's crazy. Opposite agenda now. Matt?
I'm gonna go Cowboys. I'm gonna go Cowboys. I think there's a lot to prove for Dak Prescott.
Commanders and Buccaneers. Oh God, I'm going Bucks.
Yes.
Oh, this is a messy game.
I have
a
game. Narrative that all rookie quarterbacks suck. I guess that's the narrative that I'm going to be pumping this season. Bucks.
Rams, Lions. Who's getting the revenge here? And it's
Whoa!
What
about Matt? What about Matt?
Oh, Matt, I'm so sorry. I thought that you were. I'm sorry.
He doesn't want to hear my Baker Mayfield takes. Everybody, I understand. I'm going Commanders. Jaden Daniels, cool.
Jaden Daniels equals cool.
This just in. Jaden Daniels, cool.
He is.
Rams and Lions. I'm gonna say the Rams are taking this.
Oh, you just stole my thunder. The Rams are gonna win this one as well.
Let me just say this as well. That means the Bears, in my prediction, are starting off with the best record in the NFC North by beating the only team in the NFC North that gets a win this week is the Bears. In my prediction.
In your
Matt.
Make sure you take a picture of that, hang it on the wall, because it won't last long. The Lions are going to win this game. They're going to cover. Again, I'm going against you guys. I'm taking the home favorite.
You know what? No, I am switching it because in my pigskin payout, it's. I just looked at my parlay that I built for pigskin payout. Totally paid. So I can't do that. Anyways,
Ryan's parlay.
Yeah, I can't have that in my prediction. Anyways, Jets and 49ers. Honestly, I'm going 49ers, but I don't like it. Ben, what are you thinking?
Niners.
Matt?
The spread on this game is Niners 4.5. I think a better 4.5 spread would be Aaron Rodgers snaps this season. I'm going to go with the Niners.
Oh, my God. All right. So
it's Monday Night Football again. I just
against Leonard Floyd too. It's crazy.
Oh, no.
He's on the Niners. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's the Chase Young replacement.
That is something.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That
is something.
Next up, we have the return of yet another segment.
You think you know football? Well, prove it. This is Pigskin.
Right drop. All right.
They say winning isn't everything, and that may be true in some cases. But right now, let's make some money. It's time for Pigskin Payout.
Dude, that could not have been perfectly timed better. This is not the right drop. All right, so
I gotta say, I hope people out there are interested right now because
that was gold. That was
I'm
great.
locked in.
Dialed.
All right, Pigskin Payout here. All right, so I've got a awesome 5-leg parlay for you guys, and if you guys don't want the parlay, by all means, pick this thing apart. Gamble responsibly as always.
Fade me.
Yeah, do it, please. You'll probably win money. But anyways, I was also short on time. So, for example, I just picked spreads that I liked, and then I also said the current odds, with the exception of this one because I'm stupid. Give me just a second to fix this. I am all sorts of messed up right now.
So, unlike Ryan, and on Matt's train of things, we don't know anything. I stayed away from the spreads. I did nice, easy 3-legger for you guys. That's Pacheco anytime touchdown score at -105. Bijan anytime touchdown score at -105. And again, I stayed away from the spreads. We don't know anything about these teams. It's going to be a little bit until I bet on a spread. As we've seen in college football, that stuff is so fickle. We just don't know any of that stuff yet.
It's profitable.
The last leg in this one is over on points in the Lions-Rams game at 50.5. That's -112. You throw those three all together in a parlay that gets you +621. That's 10 to win $72. I've already placed that for myself. That is in my slip. I didn't bet $10, only bet $5. But a nice simple 3-legger. Again, 2 anytime touchdown scores and an over on points with 2 offenses that I like a lot and 2 defenses that I'm not the biggest fans of. And hopefully we can go out and win some money.
My parlay, back to mine, because I finally got my crap together. All right, so yeah, Dolphins -3.5 versus the Jags is +102 right now. Please take that because I feel like that's really free. Bengals -8 versus the Patriots at -112. I like this one as well. So Bears -4 versus Titans. I'm a homer. You can expect the Bears to cover on every one of my parlays more than likely. Broncos +6 at Seahawks. So this is the fun one. I said that Bo Nix is going to have some fun. Now, I'm not saying that the Seahawks are going to lose this game, but I will say the Broncos are going to keep it close. And then Lions -3.5 versus Rams. That's what really, toss my predictions aside. That one's -112. If you're putting all of these into a parlay, you get +20. Okay, so that's $10 wins $256. It's going to be a lot of fun if you play that one and it wins. But Matt, do you have anything for us to jot down? I'm honestly writing this down just because I might be taking some of these. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm crafting midstream. I'm crafting a parlay. Can you believe this?
Hey, look at this. Entertaining. It's crazy.
Degenerate stuff. What I have picked out kind of with my picks, the Colts +3.5. I think they just keep it within a field goal. It's a division game at home. I don't see them getting routed in any way. If they do, then it loses. But you get the +3.5. So if a walk-off field goal happens, doesn't matter. You're fine. Then I alternated the Seattle spread from 6 to just 6.5, just to. Because Colts are +3, I want the bonus +0.5 in the Colts game. So I'm moving the 6 to 6.5, just a little move, and then
in favor of Seattle, I'd assume.
In favor of Seattle, yeah, 6.5. They'll win by a touchdown. Rookie quarterback in Seattle, Mike McDonald is going to give Bo Nix nightmares. Okay. And then lastly, I'm just going to take up the straight up over in an ugly game. I called it ugly, but I saw that over. Washington Commanders and Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 43.5. I think points are going to be scored. I think these are bad defenses. And I think these are quarterbacks who are going to find a way to get in the end zone.
The only thing is I don't like the Commanders' offense. It's the only thing. But what's the total odds on the parlay?
That is just over plus 500, plus 517. So nothing wild. Nothing that's going to break your bankroll, but
cool.
Let me see.
I will tell you this. I might put money on all three of these. And, Matt, when we go to the the sports book, we'll just watch them all hit. Week 1 magic.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? All right, guys. Next up, we have our Super Bowl picks.
So just place
Super Bowl and award
parlay.
Super Bowl and award picks.
777 on that parlay I just said.
So I have my
Touchdowns
Super Bowl pick.
points.
Again, I'll do this in order that we did in Pigskin Pick'em. I think everybody likes an underdog story, right? I really think that if you haven't won a Super Bowl yet, this might be the year to do it. Give me the Texans versus Lions in the Super Bowl.
Oh, I was really worried that you were going to say the Bears.
No, they've won a Super Bowl before. I said if you haven't won a Super Bowl yet,
sorry.
this is the year to do it. Texans and Lions, baby. I don't think the Texans have been to the Super Bowl, so this will be fun.
Who do you have winning?
Oh, I was supposed to pick the winner? Oh, crap.
Yeah.
I'll say
Pick a winner?
I'll say Texans.
I
like that too more.
Much more chalk than Ryan's. I would much more prefer Ryan's Super Bowl than mine. Again, mine's much more chalk. This should come as no surprise to anyone here. Niners versus Ravens. And just like last time, the Ravens are gonna win. It's Lamar's year. We saw him put on a good show last year. I have no clue why they decided to not run the football in the playoffs this past year. Like, they were dominant all year, and then they just decided to stop doing that. Made no sense to me. I think John's going to learn from his mistakes, and he's going to go out and win his second Super Bowl.
Matt?
You know what they say?
What do they say?
Everything's bigger in Texas. I have the Texans playing the Cowboys in the Super Bowl weeks after the Texas Longhorns take a national championship home. So we're going to have a national champion and a Super Bowl winner in the same state because everything's bigger in Texas. With that being said, I have placed money on this team to win the Super Bowl, as you both know. Just over $50 to win over 1,000. I'm putting my entire life into this team. And if you think that's the Dallas Cowboys, you're wrong. It's the Houston Texans. It was always the Texans. CJ Stroud is going to light it up. He is taking over the Super Bowl in his second career season. He's going to knock off everybody. He's going to shock the world. Plus 1,600, Houston Texans, mark it in stone.
Question for you. Does that mean the Mavericks are winning the NBA championship?
It definitely gives them a good opportunity, doesn't it?
Nah, he means the Spurs, bro. Come on.
No, get out of here.
Chris Paul is at the Spurs now, so...
Yeah, he needs a ring.
No, the Wemby Lobs.
Okay, all right. Okay, last of the NFL segments for the night are our award predictions, which, by the way, I was trying to go over my note here, and for some reason that just moved that down. All right, starting with MVP, I'll go first. I'm going CJ Stroud. He led them to the Super Bowl in my predictions, and obviously the offense is starting to explode. Mr. CJ Stroud, you will be cemented into the NFL history books forever as MVP for the 2024 season.
Oh, fun.
Ben?
Yeah, we're gonna pick the dude who's leading the MVP race for the first 10 weeks of the season last year and then got hurt. Jalen Hurts. He's gonna win it. It's gonna be a bounce back year. No shocker. Homer pick, of course. He was leading it for a reason. Got hurt. We had talked about it today. Wasn't the same quarterback after he kind of pulled his hamstring there. Fully healthy now. Every single time he's been healthy, he's been in the MVP conversation. He was 2 years ago. Then he got hurt. He was last year. Then he got hurt. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt this year. Jalen Hurts.
My MVP is, of course, also leading his team to the Super Bowl, but not a victory. Dakota Rain Prescott is taking home the MVP this season in a must-prove-it year to get his contract. He was so close last year. I think he gets it done this year.
Big on the Cowboys. It's crazy.
Shiver.
Offensive Player of the Year. I think this one's clear-cut, easy. Christian McCaffrey is going to take it again. Ben?
Same position. I'm going Breece Hall this year.
Breece Hall.
Yeah. Breece Hall is going to have that CMC type year, and it's going to be the voter fatigue type thing. He's going to, Breece Hall is going to do it both on the ground and in the air, just like CMC does. And people are going to be tired of voting CMC in the position. So they're going to turn to a dude who looks exactly like CMC in Breece Hall.
Matt?
Well, if Dak is winning MVP, he's got to have someone to throw the ball to, CeeDee Lamb.
I like
and he breaks 2,000 yards.
Defensive Player of the Year. I know, real fun. Somebody who's a perennial, at least contender. I'm giving it to Myles Garrett. Ben?
Kyle Hamilton. It's going to be great. He's going to blow everyone out of the water. Kyle Hamilton was the best one of the best safety last year. He's going to continue to play that level. And just like they were tired of CMC, people are going to get tired of voting the edge rushers. It's been a little bit since the DB has won it, Stephon Gilmore. And everyone's going to be like, holy cow. Kyle Hamilton does it all. He deserves it. And I'm going to win a little bit of money in the process. Kyle Hamilton.
I already typed in this name because I really feel like I get where Matt's going with this. So help me God. Matt, just go ahead and take it away.
Dak Prescott is going to win the MVP. CeeDee Lamb is going to win the Offensive Player of the Year. You better untype that message because Micah Parsons is going to finish second. He's going to finish second.
Because he got traded to the Bears, right? I'm just kidding.
Behind only Max Crosby. I think Max Crosby is one of my favorite players in the league. He plays every single snap. He plays it as hard as physically possible. I think voters are finally going to give him his due this season, and he's going to have a monster sack season. He's going to get the Defensive Player of the Year.
Hey, and he's playing with Wilkins now, which takes the pressure off of him.
Whew. I'm so excited for Max Crosby.
I like that.
He's my favorite defensive player in the league.
What are his odds? Might have to go in there and place a little something on that.
His odds have to be top 5. I
would hope so.
If you're looking.
I'm pulling it up right now. Don't you worry. I already have it. Already have it. It's plus 700. That's the third best odds in the NFL behind TJ and Micah.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah. Garrett is behind both of those guys.
Wow. Wow.
Garrett's just right behind him. Garrett's like Max is plus 700. Garrett's plus 800. So he's just right behind him.
I don't hate it. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Come on now, Caleb Williams for sure. Ben.
Yes, I would have. Of course, I'm gonna go the chalk pick. It's gonna be Caleb. Now, if it's not Caleb, it's gonna be Marv.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy there. Caleb. Yeah.
Matt.
Yeah, I have Marvin Harrison. I know going against the Bears, it doesn't make you happy, but if Caleb amasses the 4K, the 30 touchdowns, whatever those Bears records, he will shatter it. He'll get 50 first place votes, no doubt about it. But I think Marv is going to have a special season, just as Jefferson did his rookie year, just as Chase did his rookie year. I think Marv is going to be worth the price of admission this season for the Cardinals, and they're going to be very good on the back of Marvin Harrison Jr.
Defensive Rookie of the Year. I have Dallas Turner. I think that he's going to be making some noise. That's my guy from the draft. And not only that, but Vikings need something to go, and I'm putting him. You know how Max Crosby is kind of like the head guy of the Raiders defense. I'm predicting Dallas Turner to be the same for the Minnesota Vikings. So, Ben?
Yes. Really quick. I really think this offensive rookie of the year race is going to be much like it was last year, with a really good quarterback in C.J. Stroud and a really, really good wide receiver in Puka Nacua. And it's going to be much of the same thing. Mm-hmm. Caleb Williams and Marv. The interesting thing is Marv going to put up better stats than Puka? I mean, Puka had almost 1,500 yards, as you said, 6 touchdowns. He played great. DPOY or DROY, Defensive Rookie of the Year wise, I was really between two guys. It was between Latu. If you guys were here during the draft process, he was always my guy. It made me very happy when he was the first edge taken. It was really between him and Quinyon. I'm going to go Quinyon. I'm going to go the homer pick. If I'm between those two, of course, I'm going to go Quinyon. And really quickly, Matt, I'm going to take a stab at yours and tell me if I steal your thunder here. Are you going to go Terrion Arnold?
It's between him and another name. Both my guys. And yes, he stole my thunder, ladies and gentlemen. Terrion Arnold is going to be the Defensive Rookie of the Year for the Detroit Lions. I think he's going to have insane interception production. I think he's going to be, by the end of the year, he's going to pass Carlton Davis as the CB1. He's going to be guarding wide receiver ones in the playoffs. No doubt about it in my mind.
Who was the other guy?
My other guy was Byron Murphy, of course.
Well, I was also thinking him as well, but
yep. But again, it's defensive tackle. I think the interception production is going to outweigh what a defensive tackle can get in sack production. So that's kind of the tiebreaker. I think both are going to be insane, or they're both going to be bad, and I'm going to feel sad.
Comeback player of the year. Give me Zach Wilson. I'm just kidding. Imagine. That'd be crazy.
Still my pick.
Yeah. I'm going Aaron Rodgers. Again, the chalk pick. I know. But anyway, yeah Ben.
It was really him or Joe. A part of me wanted to go Anthony Richardson, but I just don't think we saw enough of him last year to put him as the comeback player of the year this year. I'm going to go Rodgers, but it's really between him and Joe.
I decided to take a stab at the odds. I don't know what person is betting Daniel Jones at plus 1,800, but prayers up to that guy.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to take Joe Burrow. I'm going to take Joe Cool. I think it comes down to who makes the playoffs between Cincinnati and the Jets. Do you think the Jets are going to make the playoffs or the Cincinnati? And I'm going Cincinnati there.
And then Coach of the Year. I'm not going Matt Eberflus. I'm not. This is a guy.
The odds are awful, aren't they?
The odds are really
he's
bad.
The favorite,
but this guy's odds very good. In fact, I might even place a futures bet on it. DeMeco Ryans. I don't know why he's not in the top 3, but he's not. This guy should have won it last year. But I'm saying DeMeco Ryans for sure. Ben?
This one was really, honestly, of all of the choices, this one was like the hardest for me to pick between my two finalists. Both my finalists were 2 second-year head coaches in the league. It was really between DeMeco and Shane. It's going to be a really fun race, and it really might just come down to who wins that division. For that reason, I have the Texans winning the division, so I'm going to give the edge to DeMeco. I already have money on DeMeco winning it, so I have a horse in the race already. But don't be shocked if Shane Steichen is making a push here at the end of the season to win this award.
Yeah, your Coach of the Year Bowl is this weekend.
Yeah.
Matt?
I'm going to go with a first-year head coach because I feel like these are just how they go, right? We go with the team that wins. Who wins better than someone from Michigan? I'm going to zag. I'm going to go Mike McDonald with the Seattle Seahawks, and not Jim Harbaugh. Everyone thought it was Jim Harbaugh.
Still a Michigan guy.
It's going to be Mike Macdonald, his former defensive coordinator. I think Mike Macdonald does fantastic stuff with the Baltimore Ravens. I think he's going to transform that Seattle defense, and they are going to be in the top 5 in the unit. I think their offense is going to be good enough to get them in the playoffs, and that's going to be enough to give Mike Macdonald the award as a first-year head coach.
Love it.
All right, let me get into – I'm going to make the executive decision and say this is going to be our last segment of the night. So let me play the right drop here.
Pro football isn't the only game in town. Let's take a stroll to Ben's College Corner.
I got to redo that drop, by the way. It is just College Corner now, ladies and gentlemen. It's not Ben's anymore. I'm sorry, Ben. You don't have a segment anymore. I'm taking your segment and throwing it out the window. Just
hey, I was the one last week who said
it's a democracy segment
I'd like to
now.
Throw that out
it's
there.
no longer.
I was the one who said, "Hey, I said we should change it." Okay,
right.
I was the one who said that.
I just wanted to joke around with you a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Ben Hansen
however,
favor of democracy.
I will say I'm letting it's still technically your segment. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna let you, as always, lead the conversation, and this is gonna be how it's gonna go from here on out. But I will chime in as much as I can because I'm still casual. I don't know what I'm talking about, and I will preface that a lot. But anyways, y'all just do your thing, and I'll chime in when I'll raise my hand or something.
Same format that it has always been. And if you raise your hand, honestly, just scream because I don't have the stream pulled up.
Ben, I want to say something.
I'm on a different tab, so I'm just do exactly that. Sorry for our headphone users.
Do exactly that.
No, yeah.
Sorry for headphone users. It's gonna be the same. It's gonna be the same. Format that you guys are used to. We're gonna go over kind of the big points that had happened this past week, the games to look for this coming week, and any upsets if we have any. Really, the big thing. And I'm going to format this in a question here. Matt, what on earth is going down there in Tallahassee in Florida State? They're looking bad. It's bad. What's going on?
I mean, this is what happens when you go from Jordan Travis, who can be an engine of the offense, to DJ Uiagalelei, who they're telling to drop back 40 times. Did I read that right? I think he dropped back 40 times against Boston College. It is just, they are getting steamrolled right now. The pressure is weighing on top of Mike Norvell. I don't think he's going to get fired by any means. I think there's a lot more that goes into college football and recruiting classes than just your win-loss. But this is a team that had clear expectations, top 10 in the nation going into the preseason poll, and they're 0-2 in the ACC. Their playoff chances are less than 1% now. It's a dumpster fire of everything. I can't believe it. I remember someone was asking a question of the top 10 teams in the preseason. Who do you think is going to miss? Who's going to get off the AP poll entirely? Because every year since 1 year in the last 15 years, a top 10 team in the preseason top 10 misses the top 25 at the end of the year. I always just defaulted to Florida State because they lost so many pieces, and it's really weighing on them. Maybe Johnny Wilson is a 6th-round pick in the NFL, but he was a vital engine of this offense last year. So it's something. It's shocking, but at the same time, it's not shocking.
My God, they look horrible, though. Oh, my God.
They did look bad. And it goes back to, and a team we'll get into in a second. And it's these two polar opposites right now that we're seeing out of this team and a team that we'll get into in a second when it comes to team building philosophy. You go and you look at Florida State, and you have this over-reliance of transfers. And half their starters are guys who had transferred, and half might be over-exaggerating. You have this over-reliance of guys that you haven't built up in your program, who are coming from the outside, isn't used to the tradition, isn't used to these different schemes that you already have, and are going to be starting for you. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have the team we're going to get into here in just a second in Clemson that refuses to take transfers and won't play any of them. For that reason, Georgia dominated them in the second half. The final score of that game was 34-3. Georgia looks like the team we all expected them to look like, and Georgia is going to make teams look stupid all year. But when are we going to have Dabo leave the program? Right now, he's the old dude screaming on his lawn at the young kids, "Get off my lawn!" This is bad. I don't know what he needs to do at this point, and how bad this team has to be for him to leave or step down. But could get very ugly very quick this year. And again, Georgia, Carson Beck, that defense looks like they didn't miss a step. Starks is the best safety in college football. Him and Downs. Georgia looks just as dominant as always.
Yeah, Georgia really is. The Georgia tagline is the standard of college football right now. I think they are just doing everything better than everybody else, and it was meaningful that Saturday to dominate a team like Clemson. They were 10.5-point favorites, and they beat them by 31. They never looked back in that second half. But as your point about Clemson and Dabo, he needs to adapt. He needs to adapt. No longer is it the old days of college football. I got to go around and I got to DM the high school kids. What music is popping for a 16-year-old anymore? It's I got to go get guys all around the country. Some dude in Fresno who wants to play P4 football, and I got to get that guy now. And he's not doing it at all. 0 transfers since the transfer portal has changed the way it has. It's
0.
It's remarkable. It's remarkable and I wonder if I don't know what it looks like for Clemson. They were the preseason favorite in the ACC. I do believe. What happens if this team goes 7-5, 6-6? Do changes be made? Does he take a different job? I don't know, but we're gonna figure it out together.
Hey, Georgia Tech is coming. That being said,
King.
Yes, polar opposites there as well with his interception to touchdown ratio last year. Speaking of another just person being bad, and this hurts my soul to have to admit this early on into the season. We don't have to touch on it too much. Man, did Connor Wakeman look bad? He had 2 interceptions. He looked like he was not he was looking like he was punching out of his weight class. It was all around bad. Given Notre Dame has a very, very good secondary in Benjamin Morrison and Xavier Watts. Drake Bowen, a guy that we've talked about a couple times on the podcast before.
Hey, I love that guy, by the way.
Connor Wakeman
did really good.
Yeah, but Connor Wakeman looked just bad. And it hurts to say this already, and I think that there's a long season ahead of us. Who knows what the rest of the season looks like, and he could step up. But I feel like I just need to say that for those who had listened to the podcast last week. I apologize. I'm not ready to admit that I was wrong just yet. But it's not looking good. I'll say that. Do you have any opinions on Connor Wakeman, the second best quarterback in Texas?
Connor Wakeman is cooked. It's over. It's just put the fries in the bag, bro. But just overall, the only good thing from the Connor Wakeman performance is that Riley Leonard also did kind of stink it up sneakily.
Yeah.
But the thing about that game that I was so impressed by was Notre Dame. Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler did a great job of analyzing the O-line. They only had 6 total starts on the offensive line in that game, and it showed in the first half. But as the game got longer and longer and longer, these guys grew up before my eyes. And I was like, do I have to take Notre Dame as a national championship contender, legitimate favorite now? Even if they're going to be the 5 seed and they have to host a game against the group of 5 team, whatever, they got to play an extra game. I don't care. I think this team showed me enough in the trenches that they beat up A&M, and A&M's got good players. They got NIL to get good players. So overall, I was just more impressed with Notre Dame rather than being let down by Wegman, probably because I'm not as high on Wegman as you, of course, are.
Yeah. Speaking of quarterback play, we'll transition to the other side of that. Two quarterbacks that have taken a very early lead in the Heisman race. One, Miller Moss, who he looked great. I mean, again, it was a close game, very fun game to watch, but Miller looked very, very.
Can I just say something as well, really quick? As hopefully Ben returns to us. Ben, really quick. Back? I'm so sorry. Yeah, you're back now. Give me just a second to add this point, and then I'll send it back to you. I just want to say, just the pure comedy of the situation after Miller Moss exploded the way that he did against LSU, when it comes down to Bears Twitter and how much panic had set in, because it's like, oh my God, how much of it was actually Caleb and how much of it was just USC? Like Miller Moss looks really good right now. Like it was the return of what had happened. Yeah, or Lincoln Riley, yeah. The return of what had happened after the bowl game against Louisville, just last year. It all came back, and especially right before week 1. This is not the energy we need, but this is what happened, and it was just funny. But I just wanted to let you guys know, just because I know it. I mean, I know Matt's kind of on Bears Twitter, like a little bit. There's a couple guys, but like I'm telling you, my whole feed was just like Miller Moss, dude. Oh my God. But anyways, yeah.
Yes. Again, Miller Moss looked very good. Close game, looked composed. Really liked the way Miller Moss. And then a guy on the other side of the country, Cam Ward, finally putting everything together. Cam Ward has always been a dude who has seemed to have all of the traits, but has never quite been able to put everything together to look perfect. He sure looked darn near perfect against Florida. Cam Ward looks like he's going to be in this conversation all year long as long as Miami can continue to win. Cam Ward was fun.
I'm excited to see what Miami does in the future just because of that game, because Cam Ward did look really good to me as well. That was one of the games that I was able to watch, and honestly, I mean, now it's like, what does he do next? You know what I mean? It is the Cam Ward show over there in Miami to me, and it's one of those players that makes me very excited. So, Matt.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway from those two guys was they both looked like quarterbacks that are going to play on Sundays. I thought the way Cam Ward distributed the football, he could get on the move and create so many explosives. And the flip side of the coin, Miller Moss being entirely different. I saw him going through progressions, in and outs. He was throwing darts on the sideline on quick outs and quick hitches. Like, those are NFL concepts that you need to learn and need to figure out. And it wouldn't be the first time Lincoln Riley has created a quarterback out of thin air, it feels like, and made them into a Heisman candidate. Believe me, I know as a Texas fan. I kept seeing it. But, yeah, I thought I saw two guys who were going to be playing on Sundays and are going to be hearing their names called on the first night of the draft after one game. And there's a whole ton of season, just as I shouldn't be, Connor Wegman undraftable. These guys were first-round picks. I shouldn't be doing that.
Mac Jones.
And he is Mac Jones. But just overall, I saw two guys who they have mastered their skill sets and finally being able to put it on display. And another thing about Miller Moss, he did the great thing about LSU and USC that I saw someone say is they did it. These quarterbacks did it the right way. They didn't transfer. They didn't leave. They waited their turn behind Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, the two top picks, and got to show out in front of the country. I thought Garrett Nussmeier was also incredible in that game. Best game of the weekend. And I'm so excited to see what where Miller Moss and Cam Ward could potentially go. USC plays Michigan by the end of the month in the Big House. So that's going to be an awesome game.
Yes. Speaking of Michigan in the Big House.
You see that transition?
Yeah. Perfect. Speaking of Michigan in the Big House, by far, at least me and you, the number one game we're going to be watching this week is Texas versus Michigan. Third-ranked Texas versus 10th-ranked Michigan. Michigan looked like they struggled a little bit there, getting their offense going. Texas absolutely dominated. No surprise there. I'll get ahead of everyone after Saturday rolls around. I already have Texas covering this. I think Michigan is going to struggle to keep up offensively with Texas. Michigan still has the best defense in the country, but as we've already talked about in the podcast here, a good defense can only get you so far until you have to start scoring points. And Donovan Edwards is awesome, but I still have my concerns with how bad this offense looked against Fresno, let alone Texas. Matt.
Yeah, I'm taking a different approach. Just win the football game. Just win it. I don't care if it's ugly. Beating a top 10 team on the road in their place is a massive thing. We learned that exactly last year against Alabama. It's going to be tough. They're the defending champions. They lost their coach. They lost their quarterback. They lost all these pieces. They still have incredible defensive players in Mason Graham and Will Johnson, two of the top 3 players on my individual draft board. It just, overall, I just win. Just win the football game. That's all I care about as a Texas fan going into this. I couldn't care less about the number. And the number has moved a ton because the number is supposed to move a ton. Texas destroys Colorado State by 52-0. They don't even cross the 30-yard line, and Michigan struggles till the bitter end. It felt like against Fresno. Mm-hmm. So it just, of course the number's going to move. Of course the number's 7.5, but overall, I don't care. Just make sure there's a Texas W, and Matthew McConaughey can say horns up.
The next game to talk about, 14-ranked Tennessee versus yeah, I can't do that. Versus 24th ranked NC State. Grace McCaw looked good, had an interception, but we're gonna continue to hype up my guy. But Nico, not gonna pronounce his last name. Tennessee's quarterback looked absolutely amazing as well, as he should against that level of competition. But it's going to be very, very fun to see these two offenses literally just play. That's all it's going to be. I don't know what the over is on this game.
I'll find that out. I got you.
Take it. I don't care what it is. Take it. It's going to be very, 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 very fun. Do you have any thoughts on this game?
Overall, being in attendance for NC State's first game against West Carolina, I was, like, as the game went on against a Division II school, or FCS, sorry, my apologies, I was just like, they'll figure it out. And then the third quarter ended, and Western Carolina was still winning. And I was like, are we going to lose this game? Ended up scoring 21 unanswered, win the game by 17. But this was supposed to be a showing out game for NC State to really hype up, get into the Tennessee matchup in Charlotte. It's in town. Everyone's going to show out for it. But overall, it didn't put up an impressive showing where Tennessee scored like 60 points in the first half. So, of course, the vibes are going to be down on NC State. But, of course, being a homer, I think it was a classic look-ahead game. They got through it. They're going to Charlotte. I think the defense makes some key turnovers. They get off the field on third down, and Grayson McCall does his thing, bleeds the clock, makes the right plays. He was like bizarrely inaccurate in that game.
Yeah,
it was interesting, like, because I watched it back later, because I wasn't fully myself in attendance for the game, of course, but watching it, like, there was so many balls that were just seam balls or crossers in the middle of the field, that opportunities for Kevin Concepcion, KC, to get out in space. Justin Jolie, the tight end transfer from UConn, to get in space, and he just missed them multiple times. So I think they figure it out this week. Just as I'm Texas, just win. I'm NC State, cover the number. This game doesn't matter on the long run in your ACC championships. Cover the number. Come on, let's do the right thing.
The over-under for total points is 61.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take the over. I say buy it. Another team that didn't look so good but still ended up pulling out a victory this past week was Oregon. Oregon versus Boise State. This is going to be at Oregon. Ashton Gentry looked unstoppable. He had 262 yards, 6 touchdowns, I think. I will say Malachi Nelson did get benched for Boise State there, but it's just a matter of whether or not they can stop Ashton. He looked like the best running back in college football, probably because he's the best running back in college football. Oregon did not look good. Oregon should have absolutely blown Idaho out of the water. That did not happen. Again, I'm wondering how much of it was them just not really caring because it was Idaho. But right now, not a very good look on Oregon, and they might be on a little bit of an upset watch here.
Were we supposed to be worried about Oregon? I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Was Ohio State supposed to be worried about it? I'm just talking trash.
You played Akron. You had to come back against Akron. You were down at 1 point against
6.
Akron. You were down at 1 point against Akron, pal.
3-0.
You were down at 1 point.
Oh my God! All right, yeah. How's Michigan doing? Anyways,
yeah, Oregon. I'm not worried. I'll be honest. I couldn't care less. I think they have a grown-up at quarterback, literally. They're facing Boise State, who is a one-dimensional team. If you figure out how to stop Ashton Gentry, you're going to get off the football field. That game, they moved the football productively against Idaho. It was just these random 4th downs that Dylan Gabriel decides to push the ball at that time instead of, let me just go get this, you know? And so, overall, they struggled, and they paid for it in the polls. What did they start out at 3? Where did they start out at?
Yeah, dropped 4 spots.
They started out at 3, and they dropped to 7. So I think there's a little anger. I think Dan Lanning, hearing enough interviews with that guy, I think he's going to take it personal because we remember there was one team fighting for clicks, and they were fighting for wins. He let us all know. And so I think Oregon's going to figure it out. I think they're even going to cover the number at 19.5.
Oh, there you go. I would have said the same thing against Idaho game, but here we are.
I'm not touching 48-point spreads, by the way. Because I think that was Akron and Ohio State. I saw some people upset that Ohio State only won by 46.
I will say I did have $5 on Liberty to cover against Campbell. That didn't happen.
Just go 13-0 Liberty. That's all I'm asking from you. Just be the Group of 5 representative. Beat all the non-Power 5 teams or Power 4. Again, apologies.
Yes,
College
I agree.
Football is changing too much.
The last game, speaking of a team that has shown no change in like the 80 years that they played, the 100 years they played college football, Iowa versus Iowa State. This would be a barn burner, I think. Absolute barn burner. I'm probably not going to watch this game, but it's worth mentioning because they are a rivalry, and these games usually are fun to watch. I don't like Cade McNamara. I don't think he's very good. And also he just left Michigan in a very dirty way. So, of course, I have harsh feeling towards him. It didn't really matter because we won a championship. Anyways, besides the point, these games are usually very fun. I don't have much stake in this game. I don't think it's going to be a super fun year this year. Again, Iowa's whole thing is defense and punting. The defense is still there. And punter is no longer there. But I'm sure they probably found another great punter. But that punter's now on the Bears. But, yes, this is a rivalry game. It's played super early on in the season, but it is a usually fun game to watch. Matt.
Yeah, I'm absolutely going to take Iowa State to win outright. The over-under, by the way, I bet you guys are on the edge of your seats. 35.5. Like, that's ridiculous. When a number is that low, you just have to take the under for sake of unders. And so,
yes,
just right. Overall, Iowa State, in my final predictions, ended up being in my Big 12 championship game. I have huge belief in this team that they can figure it out, get all the way, and it's going to start beating Iowa on the road in Kinnick Stadium, and they'll figure it out on the way. I really like Rocco Becht, their quarterback. They have an explosive receiver in Jalen Noel, or Noel, apologies. just overall, I love this Iowa State team. They embody college football. I love Matt Campbell. Give me Iowa State. Iowa, stinky offense. I don't like you. We don't like
second
stinky offenses.
All of that he had said. Real quick before we get to the last game I want to talk about here, I meant to pick your brain on this one in the prior segment here in the College Corner. How about your boy, the dude you met at Walmart one time, Hudson Card, dude? He looked. I mean, it was Indiana State, but he went 24 of 25, 4 touchdowns, broke a record with the highest completion. Like, he looked, it was fun to watch. For those who don't know, Matt did kind of probably meet Hudson Card. I'll let him tell the story.
Listen, still, I'll leave it up to the commenters down below. But I saw a man who looked exactly like Hudson Card in the face with a big P on his shirt, and this was right after he had just transferred from Texas. This was before last season, so this is over a year ago, before he even played a snap for Purdue. And he was going in, and he was buying eggs, and he was buying milk. So, listen.
Dude's eating healthy.
All I know is that's what athletes eat, because I eat it, and I'm an athlete. And so just overall, he was super built in the legs, too. Like, it looked like a quarterback. I still will go to my grave going, that was Hudson Card. And I didn't want to be the guy at 7 o'clock in the morning going, dude, you're Hudson Card. I'm a Texas fan. Remember when you bleeped the bed against Arkansas? I still remember. But overall, good for Hudson Card, breaking a record against Indiana State, the Sycamores, as they call it here.
Sycamores, yeah.
Larry Bird went there, but just overall, great for him.
Last.
Did IU win?
IU did win. IU whooped on FIU. We should win against Western Illinois, I think is who it is. They play on Friday, which is a little weird.
That's a weird too, yeah.
Yeah. That being said, we'll go over this last game
Eagles
here.
Game?
We are running. Yeah, right. We're running super long, so I'll keep this last little one here short. As I told you guys, sometimes there's going to be a lot of teams to talk about on maybe Upset Watch, and sometimes there's not going to be a lot of teams to watch. Right now, there's not a whole lot of teams that I feel like are worthy to talk about on Upset Watch. Really, the only two that had stood out for me was maybe Oregon, and we had talked about them just a little bit ago, and App State versus Clemson. Clemson didn't look good. I can't talk about it enough. And App State continues to find a way to do these things to the Power 4 now at this point. Believe me, I've suffered enough being a favorite against App State. This is going to be a fun game to watch, and I'm not at all going to be shocked if App State pulls this one out.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. I mentioned before Iowa State. I think they're an underdog technically, so I don't think it would be an upset. It's a rivalry game. The one I'm looking at is in New Orleans. Kansas State, the 17th ranked team in the country, travels to Tulane. They're about 8.5, 9 favorites. It's Avery Johnson's third game as a starter in a hostile environment at early times in the morning, or for New Orleans. So the sun is going to be beaten down there. And Tulane's played and practiced in it all season, all off-season long. I think they'll expect it, but overall, I wouldn't be shocked if Tulane goes in there and puts up a fight and maybe steals it. Watch Kansas State. I think they lost a.
May I add one team?
Yes, please.
Yeah. I was gonna say Kansas is traveling to Illinois, and I think that would be a potential. I'm gonna put them on upset watch. I think that's gonna be at least a closer game than people are anticipating. But go fighting
Illinois. If Illinois makes it a rock fight like the Big Ten games are, Kansas isn't gonna be expecting it.
No, Kansas won't be expecting it. I'm personally very big Jalen Daniels guy. Jalen Daniels. Yep. Jalen, not Jaden. Jalen Daniels guy, Devin Neal, one of the better running backs in college football. It'll be a fun game to watch. That being said, Matt, thank you for coming on. Ryan, you want to go ahead and take us away?
One last thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about it, but I believe Penn State this year. Drew Howard he looked like a grown-up out there, and that was my biggest thing with this team holding back on them was, can Drew Howard take the next step? I know the running backs are good. I know the receivers are going to be productive enough. I think they got who did they get? Julian Fleming from Ohio State. Ryan knows him. Just overall, I think they look like something this year. Bringing up Kansas brought it to my mind because they got their new offensive coordinator, Andy Kolnicki, from Kansas. And so just overall, I buy Penn State this year. I think they're going to get in the playoff. And if they host a game in the whiteout atmosphere in December, oof. What if Miami goes to that? What would happen? Would Cam Ward freeze on the sidelines? I don't know.
Who knows? Matt, any further closing comments before we close it out tonight?
None for
Matt?
Oh, no?
Okay.
All right. So I will go ahead and say thank you guys for sticking with us for so long. A 2-hour long podcast that was also starting 15 minutes late. That was my fault as well. So, just kind of adding everything together as we had a solid 9 segments. I know we promised 10, but obviously for a 2-hour long show, I don't think anybody would be hurt if we didn't play Weddle tonight. So
pretend the Weddle player was Gervin Dexter.
Gervin Dexter. Oh God, dude! If it was tonight, man. Should I punch it in just in case? I'll punch it in.
Punch it in. Let the people know. Watch it be Gervin Dexter.
If it's Gervin Dexter, Michigan's winning this weekend.
Also, really quick, college football stuff. Graham Mertz has a concussion, so he is not playing. DJ Lagway is playing. We are here for it.
Anthony Richardson 2.0, everybody.
Yeah, honestly.
Right. Here we go.
Guys, I promise this is just for Gervin Dexter. This is for nothing else.
My stuff's freezing up right now. I'm going to say whatever. Let's pretend that it's not Gervin Dexter and pray that it's not.
Yeah, Texas.
I'll punch it in on my phone. I'll punch it in on my phone. Just in case. Because it'd be really funny if it was. Let me see. Just for the sake of it.
Oh my gosh. Matt, real quick, while I have you on your show, I feel like yeah, there you go.
It was.
I feel like
not
I
even
put
close.
This out here.
It's everything wrong. Oh my god.
Dude.
Yeah.
Overshown is the starting quarterback for the Cowboys. And now.
Linebacker.
So, what did I say?
Quarterback.
Oh, my bad. Tired, guys. So torn up. For those who had listened to the podcast 2 years ago, absolutely in love with Demarion Overshown, and it is gonna hurt if he's good for the Cowboys.
He's gonna be
anyways.
Yeah.
He's gonna light it up, and it's gonna suck. We could do this for like another 3 hours, so let's do
this. Thank you guys again for listening to the Pigskin Project as late as we are, and as long as the episode was. Enjoy football this week. I know I will. I got my boys beside me. It's going to be beautiful. I cannot wait. Even though the 3 of us are only going to be able to watch college football as a unit, it's still nice to have everybody together in the same spot because we get this like maybe twice a year, maybe. I don't know. But
usually this the combine and the draft, so 3 times a year.
So it's nice to be able to do this. I'm excited. I hope everybody else is just as excited just because this is the most anticipated time of the year. Lastly, we've got 24 people in chat right now. I want to say, thank you guys so much. So the one thing that I kind of want to hit on is the most important because it's a milestone. If we can get just 9 of you to follow us on Twitter if you're not already, that would get us to the 100 follower mark on our Twitter. That would be absolutely huge. But no matter what, if you guys are listening on whatever you guys are listening on, if you guys could drop a follow there, that way you know when we're going live next. I can tell you right now, normally our episodes, if you're new, normally our episodes go about an hour and 15 minutes. So we'll find something to talk about. It'll be awesome. This was just the mega show for week 1. And I hope that you guys really, really were entertained by it, because I know one person wasn't. So without further ado, if you'd like to come on the show, drop us a DM. I just tweeted something out saying that, listen, we will never be too big for you to come on the show. We want to hear from everybody.
Or send in questions, a mailbag episode.
Yes, oh my
during
the
God,
season.
I would love a mailbag.
If you want us to talk about literally anything, we've been saying it for every episode pretty much. Let us know and we will talk about it. That'll make it easier on us, actually. So yes, but
really quickly, hold on. Right here. That's, you guys could see everything up there. Didn't mean to take him away because he was one who designed this wonderful background for us. If you guys have any questions, go and look up really quickly. I'm gonna add it back in now.
I also, the entire time that we've been listening, there's this cool little scroller thing right underneath Matt, and that shows all of our socials. So if you guys would like to, if you guys would like to follow us on anything, that'd be awesome. Again, you guys don't have to by any means, but there has been a pretty consistent following for majority of the show. So if you guys were entertained, please, by all means, that would mean the world to us. But we'd like to thank Regional Radio Sports Network, Uppercuts Grooming, and Spotify for Podcasters for helping us grow as a podcast and put out our podcast on everything. Obviously the support is always appreciated. But without further ado, this has been the Pigskin Project, and we will see you guys next week.
Cover the number.